Good evening and welcome to another edition of the Couch Coach. Tonight I've got some really loco people in studio. We have John Cena, Arafat. We have Annika and Sharon. They're part of a group that will be swimming from Blouberg to Robben Island, hence the loco. Welcome to the studio, guys.
Thank you for having
us. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So, let's start by you, Sharon. Why the swim?
Swimming wasn't a big part of my life in high school and primary school, and I think a big part of that was because of the fact that being a person of color, there wasn't really much space to go into that sport, and I remember my initial encounter with swimming came in when we had a camping trip, a grade 7 camping trip in primary school, and everybody was excited, and people wanted, obviously, when we got to the venue. Oh my goodness! When we got to the venue, so everybody wanted to get in, and obviously within that excitement, the boys wanted to start pushing girls into the pool. And unfortunately for me, I didn't know how to swim. So they pushed me in, and I had to struggle my way to the edge of the pool. And that was pretty much my first and last encounter, right? Fast forward 10 years later, I moved to Cape Town, and my attitudes and perceptions changed.
Okay, awesome. Annika, your introduction to swimming?
This guy. About 3 or 4 years ago, I signed up for my first triathlon, sprint distance. Googled a few videos on how to swim. I honestly, I could float, but that was about it. I knew I needed to get to a certain distance. Tried to train on my own, and kind of just winged a few triathlons. Like, I figured if I finish the swim distances, I can get to the cycle and finish the run, and it'll be fine. I always just do these things for fun anyways. But when I met Arafat, I knew him to be a guy to do these crazy stuff. He's kind of senior loco, I think, to me, when it comes to open ocean swimming. And I was like, hey, are you doing any, because I know he does a lot of charity work. Are you doing any charity swims? I've been a bit better in the last few years. I'd like to join. And he goes, yeah, come join us. We're going to be swimming to Robben Island in a few months. I was like, oh, okay, here we go. And that's honestly how it happened. It was just right place, right time, right kid's birthday party.
Yeah.
And I was invited to the team, met the awesome Sharon and Arafat, and it's been 7 months.
Roughly.
Goodness, since January of this year.
Wow.
And we've been training consistently throughout the year. Took a bit of a break in the Ramadan, which wasn't great for the esteem. But because I literally felt like I was starting from scratch. I've never had a swim lesson. Literally Google was my only reference to how to do a freestyle, let alone anything else. And apparently I'm a bit better now.
So, Arafat, you're the coach by the sounds of things.
By the sounds of things.
and I believe you also did a few of these swims.
Yeah, in 2019, I learned how to swim in 2013, so I couldn't swim. Like Sharon mentioned, there's a perception that black people cannot swim, and that is not true. It's only because we don't get opportunities to learn how to swim.
For sure.
So when I got in South Africa, I didn't have... I lived in a street children's home, and like you find a lot of kids, they have no hope to no aspiration to a better future, and the hope we found it through education and programs that volunteers provided us, and swimming was one of them. So that is how I came encounter with swimming, and it was so fascinating for me because it was going to be my first time to be in a swimming pool. So started watching YouTube videos and got into it.
There's a theme in this thing.
Yeah, like I went to the Central Library, watched YouTube videos, and the next swimming class I went and stood with like confidence, jumped in, started to swim butterfly, but I was swallowing water instead. So yeah, so that's how it came, and the volunteer who taught us how to swim came and was like, Arfat, you look like you want to learn how to swim. And I was like, yeah, I would love to, and that's how my swimming started. Okay. Yeah. So
also, Annika, there's this idea or there's this mission behind this one. We've got a couple of minutes.
Yes.
If you can share that with us.
So we always had the idea that we wanted to do this for a greater purpose. I mean, it's an awesome individual feat for all of us to try and tackle something that seems so larger than life. But at the end of the day, it needs to be channeled into the community for all of us. I think from the minute we met, we knew that's what the end goal was. And we wanted it to benefit kids, and we wanted it to be a way for us to bring awareness, to uplift children through sport, through physical and mental wellness. And we've actually found an organization that does exactly that. They call the Inala Mental Health Foundation. And they go into schools, they take kids who are at risk through drugs or gangsterism, or from impoverished backgrounds, and they change their perceptions about life, about themselves, through taking them on camps, on leadership camps, through creating a space for them to just be able to speak about trauma, speak about their challenges, absolutely. And we felt that was a perfect fit for what we want to do and what we want to achieve through the sport.
I'd like to pick this one up again, but we got two new guests that's also going to be joining us. So give us a moment. We've got to pay some bills. We'll be back with you shortly. Welcome back to the Couch Coach, and with me we have two new guests. We evicted the other two because apparently Sharon was a problem. So we welcome Thabiso and Matsa. Welcome to the show. So I believe Matsa swam a whopping 5 kilometers yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday.
Where was that, and how was that?
It was very tiring, and it was at Sea Point.
At Sea Point. And what was the route that you guys swam?
We swam at the swimming pool, at the Sea Point swimming pool. They swam about 100 laps in a 50-meter pool,
You're so small.
And afterwards they did some push-ups too for not doing it right.
Is he Thabiso, is he a tough coach?
Yes, he is.
How long have you been swimming?
I've known Coach for probably 6 years now.
Wow, okay.
So,
and you, I believe you dropped a bit of a bomb on your coach here a little while ago, saying that you want to take it further.
Yeah.
Well, what's your end goal here with the swimming?
My end goal for swimming is to become an open water swimmer, and that's
awesome. So you obviously seem to love working with the kids and the not so kids. Where does this all come from? And tell us a bit more about the
well, like Annika mentioned, you find, like, I lived in a street children's home, and there's a lot of things that goes on with these kids, and a lot of people don't get to understand. You find like a kid thinking that the street is safer than home. You can imagine how bad it is to be at home, and the public do not understand that, so they have a different perception with these kids. They think they're criminals. This is another child who just wants to be on the street. And with this program that we're raising funds for, they are preventing that from happening, from helping these kids to understand how to deal with their problems instead of thinking that the streets are going to be safer for them. Yeah.
So it's about, to me it's sounding like it's more about giving the kids the life skills and the skills to deal with the challenges.
And this is like so amazing about this organization. Because of our daily lives, we just focus on, I wake up in the morning, I go to work, after work I'm tired. You don't get to think, I saw this kid begging on the street, I'm like, I'm going to give him 5 rand and I'm going to continue. So we don't think of a solution on how to help them. So if there is an organization which has like the programs and tools to help these kids, why not create awareness for them? And yeah.
Awesome. But what I'm loving here, guys, is you have these 2 youngsters here that is breaking the stigma, as you mentioned, number 1, but also it's about giving back.
Yeah. So with Tabiso lives at the children's home that I used to live at. So when I left the children's home, I wanted to give back to them too, because that's where I started my life. When I got in South Africa, and then I took over the swimming program, like I mentioned before. And I started with a few boys, and then they moved them to another home in Kailicha. And Tabiso is one of the boys who stayed. So I've been training Tabiso for a while, and this coming month, September, is going to be doing his first attempt to swim from Robben Island to Blouberg. And Mabusi here is going to be the youngster who's going to be beating Tabiso.
So you got a bit of rivalry going here.
Yeah, it's a very good You should see them when they're swimming together. He doesn't want Tabiso to beat him, and Tabiso's thinking that he's looking after him. But this is a trick that Mabusi is playing to Tabiso. So that
You caught fish, eh? So tell me, why are you doing the swim from Robben Island to Blouberg?
Oh,
It's okay.
I want to do the swim from Robben Island to Blouberg to inspire other children so that they know that they could also do the same as me.
Oh, awesome, awesome. Tabiso, and you?
My personal reason is that I'm doing it because of I got motivated by a coach. Since when I met him, I also heard of his story that he went to the similar situation with me that I've been through, and then I tried to understand how did he make it, but then he succeeded doing his swimming with that thing that he's been doing. Since he was swimming, he's been like upgrading, going more and more, and then getting things. So I told him to try it and see if it worked, and then.
Awesome, that's amazing. John Cena. Once the swim is done, where to? How often do your programs happen? We've got 3 minutes here, and if people want to get involved?
They can get in touch with us. They can look at us on our page that we're going to set us. We're going to set up a page, and they can also follow on my Instagram page on Arafat Swim, and they can see the progress of the training that the guys are doing. And then they can get in touch. And if they also want to get involved with the organization we're going to raise funds for, it's not about only getting the money to give to the people, it's about getting people involved. That's to amazing. Be aware of what the community is getting to help these kids. So the more people we get, the money doesn't really matter. It's more about getting the people to come and get involved with these kind of things and be aware that these things happen.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So if anybody wants to come and see when the swim is happening, I know it's a bit of a tricky situation to nail down the date. So you want to tell us about that?
I'll definitely let you know, and you can let people know. But we're aiming for September. That's the window. So with the open water swim, we have like with Cape Town as well. The weather is not always pleasant.
4 seasons in one day.
So we have to play it by an eye looking for the perfect window for us to do the swim. But September is going to be the month for us to attempt. Yeah.
I hope you guys are going to come back and tell us how it went. So very quickly, if possible, can we put up your number for people to contact you?
Definitely. And if anyone who feels that they cannot swim, get them to come to me. I can help them to.
I might just take you up on that.
Yeah. Even Sharon, she teaches swimming too, so they can come to Sharon and
Awesome.
Sharon. She will.
Thank you so much for coming, guys.
Thank you.
All the best for September.
Thank you.
And we hope to see you back.
Thank you.
And keep up the good work.
Definitely.
Thank you so much for watching. But that being said, we still got one segment left. We got that bald-headed ref coming up. We hope with what he teaches us, we won't be sculling the ref. We'll be back in a moment. Welcome back to another edition of the Couch Coach. Fortunately, we don't have a swimmer with us, but we do have a ref with me. Welcome back, Mr. Opalis.
Thank you.
So, on another edition of Don't Scull the Ref,
Yeah.
hopefully we can get some refs getting a high five
Yeah, we'll
today.
go into that.
So, what are we going to be learning about today?
Well, we started off a few weeks
the
ago
tackle.
with the tackle. Then we progressed to the ruck,
The ruck, yeah.
which is basically on the ground. And next up, we're going to do the maul.
Okay.
All right, so just a
ruck
few
and
things. Yeah, there we go. So ruck and maul. So just basically the definition of a maul. Okay, it's allowing where players basically compete for the ball, but in the air. Remember
Okay.
last week we said the ruck was,
ruck was on the
competing on the ground. Okay, this week is just before the ball goes to the ground. So just in terms of the formation of a maul can form anywhere on the field. It consists of a ball carrier, so basically I'm carrying the ball,
Alright.
and then one player from either side bound together onto the ball carrier. Okay, while just remember, as we said, it must be
Up.
while they're on their
Yeah,
feet.
on the feet.
Okay. Once the maul is formed, it must move towards a goal line. It can't move sideways. Well, it can, but
Yeah.
basically
but there's got to be a forward.
effectively, either forward or back. Then next up, that's basically the formation of a maul. Next up, we're going to have offsides at the maul. So offsides is there's basically an imaginary line that runs parallel
Your refs and your
to
lines.
your goal lines. Yeah, it's that's basically what it comes. It comes down to margins. It's minimal. It's lines. Okay, so it is a imaginary line, offside line. It runs parallel to the goal line. So you have your goal line running that way, and then your line's basically running parallel. And the hindmost foot of the team.
Again with the feet.
So the last feet, similar to your ruck, it will be the hindmost feet, and that basically from either side. Okay,
So
that
you've
would
got to
be
come
attacking.
in from behind.
Yeah,
that
we'll
foot.
get to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry,
No, let's not
sorry,
push it.
sorry.
Sorry. I think
Eager student here.
3
right?
weeks. Yeah, 3 weeks afterwards, we got our. We can scale you instead. Yeah. So as you mentioned, a player from either side, you must join from behind. Okay. If you are on the side and the referee gets you out, or you detach from the ball, you need to retire back and then basically join in again from the hindmost foot. Okay, in order to join. That's basically the offside. It's basically simple, similar to the ruck.
Yeah.
Would be your hindmost feet. And then we have, as we mentioned, you need to obviously join in from an onside position from the hindmost feet.
From the hindmost feet.
We often have the guys coming in from the side.
Yeah.
Obviously, that is penalizable. Yes. Or we also have guys on the back of the maul, and they would kind of ease their way, especially the defending side. Not always, but they would ease their way around. Make their way around. It's what they normally call swimming around. Seeing that we just had a lesson on
the swimmers.
on the swimmers earlier
But
on.
they're not swimming to Robben Island.
No. Then during the maul. So the ball is up. The maul has been formed.
Okay.
In terms of the definition, as we explained.
So that's when the referee is shouting, more.
Yeah, he will call it the maul.
Yeah.
Okay. The player with the ball, if I can put it that way, he can go to ground. Okay. During the maul, on condition that the ball becomes available immediately. Okay, and that will then allow to the scrum off or number 9 to
Clear
play
that
the ball
out.
again.
Yeah.
the main objective of other players is to maintain or stay on their feet at all times. Players must not. Okay, this is now what not to do. Okay, and this is generally where it becomes a bit technical and whatever. So you'll often see the referee blow up a maul saying, okay, collapsing. So you mustn't intentionally pull the maul down. Yeah. So obviously that is a penalizable offence. And then also you shouldn't attempt to drag an opponent out of the maul. So basically you can compete for the ball, but don't, let go of your player.
Yeah.
When the maul has stopped for 5 seconds, okay, a referee will say use it. And then it's either a case of it goes to ground, or the number 9, which is the scrum off, he needs to get it out.
Yeah.
Okay, or the ball carrier or the person with the ball, position of the ball, needs to break away and then carry on. Create another phase of play. Yeah. If the maul stops, okay, the referee will, on average, it is, as a guideline, the referee will have it going and stops for about 5 seconds, give or take, and the referee says use it. Okay, if it goes out, alternatively, 5 seconds stops and it restarts again. It can then go forward, after which they need to use it, or the referee will blow ball turnover for the opposition, and it will say scrum to the opposition. Okay. So it's basically a case you often hear the referees shout, "Use it to lose it."
Yeah.
And that will be common after there is no movement.
Yeah.
Okay, within the play.
So it's become static.
Yeah. Okay. So that was the formation of a maul, what happens during a maul, the offsides, and then we basically towards the end have the ending of a maul. So our maul ends. So our maul ends when the ball carrier leaves the maul. As we said, he's got the option to do that. So he leaves the maul, he detaches, the maul is over. Now a new phase of play gets created. The ball goes to ground, okay. The ball is in the air, okay, but it's on or over the goal line. So between the two try lines, goal line.
Yes.
That's basically where maul can take place. So as soon as it reaches or goes, okay, no more. So maul cannot form there. Okay, that's when it ends successfully. Okay, and then when it ends unsuccessfully is when the ball becomes unplayable. Basically,
not moving anywhere. It's not coming out. Referee shout, use it, and that's, as we said earlier on, use it to lose it. Scrum, turnover ball. Okay, and then also the maul collapses, but as we said earlier, not as a result of foul play, not pulling down. Correct, and the maul not moving. As we said, it needs to move from goal line to goal line, forward or back. Yeah. It doesn't move any further, or the ball goes down to ground, and the ball doesn't become available immediately. Again, scrum, another ball, or going forward. Okay, same team's ball. That's basically it's becoming clearer.
Yeah.
But I suppose at the end of the day, it still comes down to the interpretation of what the referee sees while the action is up. Yeah.
You see often, as your title aptly says, don't scull the ref. Often, you would get your referee that is right by the play, in a better position to make the call as he sees fit, as he's seen what has transpired and led to his decision, opposed to some of your better refs that's sitting on the stand about 50 meters away.
Or the oaks of the replay.
That also. So that's about.
So okay, thanks a lot for that, Mr. Ref. It's becoming a lot clearer. Anything interesting happen over the weekend? We got 2 minutes, fill this gap. In terms of contentious issues, because there hasn't really been much rugby that, so to speak of.
Yeah, nothing much other than one, I wouldn't say, possibly funny incident. And I think that has been doing the rounds on the media, where our referee, Jaco Piper, in a Currie Cup match, blew a penalty for the Lions against the Cheetahs at scrum time. And as he blew and he had the hand up there, one of the Lion players came and he gave him a high five.
So the ref didn't get scolded.
Yeah, that was a high five. So
thank you so much, Mr. Ref. To the viewers out there, if you have a question for the ref, so hopefully you don't scowl the ref, remember to email us at couchcoachcpt@gmail.com. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week.